Couples who travel don't always agree on where to go and what sights to see when they travel. Chris is not a fan of heights, especially if there are no guardrails. But I had my heart set on seeing the ancient monastery atop Skellig Michael. What do you do in a situation like that? Well, we split. At least for the day on this one trip. I headed on a boat out to the Skellig Islands.
And I headed to Valencia Island for the day. It was safe there.
We were up early in the morning, and I was really excited when I got a text message from the tour company, and it said our trip was a go for the day. Now, I found out later I was very lucky because the trips the day before that and the day after that were both canceled. So I had a cup of coffee, and on their advice, I did not have breakfast since we were going across the water to the island. But I did take some motion sickness medicine the night before.
We had an early morning start. Start packing, get showered, be ready to move after Karen returned from Skellig. And so then we got that done and walked Karen down to the docks to see her off.
But I had one more stop I had to make before I got on the boat. And that was down to the general store, which is called Dio's. It's also called O'Connell's. And it is kind of a center of community life in Portmagee. It's the combination general store and post office. And you can get just about anything there. I was picking up my sack lunch that I had ordered the night before. So I picked up my lunch and I headed down to the harbor, where there were a lot of people waiting to board. Good morning. So today I'm headed out to Skellig Michael, an island 7.5 miles or about 12 kilometers off the coast of Ireland in the North Atlantic. Now the crossing is notorious for being rough, so I took a dose of meclizine as a preemptive strike against motion sickness. And I'm trying really hard not to think about the fact that this is Friday the 13th. The crossing takes 45 minutes at a minimum, I'm told, depending on the weather. So let's head out on this bucket list second half adventure. At 8:55, the crew came to get us and we boarded the boat. We headed out to the Skellig Islands. Skellig is Irish for splinter of stone, and that's basically what these islands look like. It's two small, steep islands in the North Atlantic, approximately 12 kilometers or 8 miles off the coast of the Iveragh Peninsula of County Kerry, Ireland.
I, on the other hand, decided to have breakfast. Since Karen decided not to, I decided I would. And had a great full Irish at the Skellig Seafront restaurant. Then, after casually finishing breakfast, I checked out of our room and hauled our luggage down and packed our car for leaving that afternoon. And then I headed to Valencia. So I left Portmagee and drove over the O'Neill Memorial Bridge.
We headed out on the water and we passed Valencia Island, which is where I knew Chris was headed, and we could see Bray Head. It wasn't long till we were out in open water, and before long, off the right side of the boat, we saw glimpses of the Skellig Islands. We arrived at Small Skellig, or Skellig Beg, approximately 11 kilometers from the mainland. Small Skellig is longer and rockier than Great Skellig, and it looks like it's snow-covered at first glance. However, it looks that way because it houses over 35,000 breeding pairs of northern gannets. Northern gannets have a wingspan of up to 6 feet and are ivory in color and white, and they come ashore only to breed. Small Skellig is the third largest colony in the world. Landing is forbidden on the island as it is now a protected island, nature reserve, and bird colony.
No landing?
No landing
For
at all.
birds?
No, you can land if you're a bird, not if you're a person. No. I do want to mention ecotours at this point. The tour that I was taking that day was a landing tour. However, in the event that you cannot land because the sea conditions don't permit it, you can take what's called an ecotour, or if you just don't care to land, you can take an ecotour. And that is a slow, close loop around the islands with commentary by the captain or crew. And that's basically what we did at Small Skellig, was an ecotour. They got us very close to the island. They shut the engines down and we just kind of drifted a little bit, and then they motored around the island so that we could get a close look at it. We got to see the keyhole feature in it, which was very interesting. Got to see the birds fairly close up and hear them. The staff was very kind about answering questions and offered to take pictures of us. So we really enjoyed Small Skellig. Meanwhile, on Valencia Island,
I had about a 3.5 hour time frame to work with on my trip away from Karen. The island itself, Valencia, is just a little under 7 miles long and a little under 2 miles wide. Once you get across the O'Neill Bridge, you can see the Skellig experience. And it's a cool looking building. It looks like it is part of the island itself, with the sod as part of the roof, really cool stone cladding on the outside. And the Skellig experience itself has great exhibits for those who are unable to get to the island, whether they're unable to go physically or whether they get rained out, or whether, like me, they don't care to walk up these elevations with no handrails.
they choose not to go.
No safety nets, so to speak. In the car lot there, you get a great view of Portmagee and the harbor. So I found a car lot down at the bottom of the Bray Trail. And you can park there. It was €2. And it's right next to Telegraph Field. It's the site of the first permanent transatlantic cable, and that was finally accomplished in 1866. It established telegraph communications between America and Europe. The first message is said to be sent from U.S. President Buchanan, and the reply came from Queen Victoria. The actual benefit to this was communications could take 2 weeks to get across the Atlantic to Europe. With this cable being set and actually working, it was minutes before you could get messages transported across the Atlantic.
So that was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Apparently, it was mostly for the rich. At the time, I believe it was $1 per letter to send a telegraph.
Wow.
And of course, it did start to go down, but I also want to mention that the walk up, it's relatively easy, but it is a grade all the way up to the old communications tower. It took me about 50 minutes to walk. That might have been 2 kilometers. I've read 2, I've read 4, and it probably took about 40 to 45 to come back down. And also, at the top of Brayhead, you get a great view of Portmagee and the harbor, and then the islands leading out to the Skelligs. I believe I actually saw the Hairy Cliffs. It was a great view of the Skelligs as well, and that was as close as I would get.
At that point, we headed the remaining 1 to 2 kilometers out to Great Skellig, or Skellig Michael. Skellig Michael was named for St. Michael the Archangel. It's 218 meters, or 714 feet high, and covers a landmass of 54 acres, or 22 hectares, of rock, with 2 peaks. Now, the 2 peaks are joined by an area called Christ's Saddle. The northeast summit is the location of the 6th century monastic settlement, St. Fionans, home to about a dozen monks. They lived in beehive huts and lived lives of prayer, study, and gardening. It was active until the 13th century, and the monastery then became a place of pilgrimage. As we took the boat in, we looped around Skellig Michael, again, like an ecotour. We saw the old 1820s lighthouse and the new lighthouse, built in the 1960s and fully automated in the 1980s. The higher southwest peak contains the Hermitage, a notoriously treacherous climb up crumbling stone stairways and paths. It's closed to the public and available for visits only by specially arranged permission. Now, Skellig Michael came to the attention of pop culture when in 2015 it became a location site for the Star Wars movie The Force Awakens, and later a shooting site for The Last Jedi. Since then, the popularity of visits has boomed, causing the necessity of restrictions on the number of visitors to the island. It's currently capped at 180 people per day. In 1996, Great Skellig was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of only 2 in the Republic of Ireland, the other being Brunabanye. When I arrived there, the crew helped us off the boat and we headed to the safety briefing. We had to watch a video when we first booked our ticket and had to listen to the briefing before leaving the base of the island. Since it's an ancient site, there are a few handrails or guardrails on the island. There were 2 fatalities in 2009, both from falls on unprotected stone steps and pathways, and both on the descent. For this reason, visitors descending the steps always have the right of way. The guide stressed that it's serious business. Anyone who decided not to climb could stay for special activities with a guide at the bottom, and some did. At that point, I made the climb to the saddle. If you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already a subscriber,
please comment.
Some people stayed at the saddle and didn't make the final climb to the monastery. At 217 meters, or 712 feet, Skellig Michael is the larger of the 2 Skellig Islands. From the 6th to the 12th or 13th century, it was home to a group of monks who created a monastery atop this craggy rock. We'll be hiking more than 600 original stone steps to the top of the monastic settlement. The last section was to the top. And this narrow ledge was the site of one of the fatalities. I have to say, this was the place that made me the most nervous, even though at the time I didn't know that was the site of one of the fatalities. Then I entered the walled monastery. It contains a chapel, an oratory, and beehive huts where the monks lived. There's also a cemetery containing the remains of the original resident monks, as well as 2 children of a lighthouse keeper who died on the island in the 1860s. After spending time in the monastery, I had my sack lunch outside the monastery walls. So I'm having lunch today. I'm having a sandwich and a bag of potatoes. They're a little crunched because they've been in my backpack, but this is the view. I gazed out over the water and wondered how Chris's day was going.
So as I started back down the Bray Trail, I just started noticing boats leaving Portmagee and zigzagging through the islands on the way out to the Skelligs, and thought it is a great adventure. It is a great adventure, but the cliffs just didn't do it for me. What I did was I drove up some roads in the middle of Valencia Island, mostly following arrows rather than the road names. I just kept following them towards Knightstown. I saw a sign for the Slate Quarry on Valencia Island, and I went in that direction and got to a certain point and looked at my watch and thought, well, I better not drive all the way back there. If I had known there was a grotto back there, I might have driven back to see that, but I chose not to. Headed back out to the road I was on and found my way heading back to Knightstown, but then saw a sign. I was easily distracted, pointing down to the lighthouse. And it's actually the Valencia Lighthouse. It's beautiful, but I got down there and €7 seemed to be a little bit too much, and it seemed like it might take up a little bit too much time that I didn't have because I still wanted to get to Knightstown and check that out. There's so much to see there. Realizing time was a factor with Karen's return to Portmagee, I figured I'd better just head to Knightstown and try to get there and still have some time to visit.
At this point, I was ready for my descent. For my video photography on this part, I used a chest harness and a remote camera button. All was going well until I lost my grip on the remote and it broke apart when it hit the ancient stone steps. Oh well, better the remote than me. I made it down the mountain safely though, and over to the dock. Now boarding the boat was tricky, but the crew is very capable and very clear about where to put your feet and grab on with your hands. We motored out of the dock and headed back toward Portmagee, and before I knew it, I was saying goodbye to the Skelligs.
I had just pulled into Knightstown, found a parking spot. Pretty quiet day, there weren't a lot of people out, but there were some sights I wanted to try to catch before I headed back to Portmagee. Got out of the car, looked around, right then Karen texted. She was estimated to be back very shortly. So I hopped back in the car and headed back to Portmagee.
So your trip to Knightstown got usurped by my return.
It did.
I'm sorry about that.
I think the whole day did.
So what did you think about Valencia Island? And did you enjoy being away from me for a day after all our togetherness on the trip?
Probably as much as you enjoyed being away from me, but I knew I wasn't going to fall off anything unless it was a style crossing a fence. But Valencia is something I would really like to go back and explore a little bit more. I probably spent more time doing the hike up to the communication tower at Bray, and as lovely as it was and the views, there were other things I wish I could have had time to see, like Knightstown.
So would you say that visitors to Valencia Island could spend a whole day on Valencia?
Yes, actually they could. And they could actually spend the night there too, or a couple of nights. There are accommodations there. There's more history about the Transatlantic cable that has roots in the Knightstown area. And there's some old churches. I think St. John the Baptist was near Kilmore, I believe. But the island is really easy to get around. Roads are rather narrow in certain places. And I had a couple of driving moments where I had to back up on a hill at a 45-degree angle to get around. And that kept my attention for a few minutes, but I felt pretty good about my whole day of driving by myself. It was difficult to drive, though, and take video or pictures. I didn't do that very much. I did it some, but not very much.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
That would be sad if you toured the Skelligs and came back unscathed and I got injured because I was taking a video driving Valencia.
That would be very sad.
Yeah, pretty stupid on my part.
Now, the Skellig Experience is actually the location of another of the tour boats that goes to Skellig Island. It's one that does the ecotours.
Yes.
And there are a number of boats that go out. There's one that goes from Cardaniel as well, several that go from Portmagee Harbor, and we will put a list of those in the links below. We'll also have some more information for you about the Skelligs and about Valencia Island.
And don't forget the tetrapods.
That's right.
On Valencia.
The link between the sea and land mammals.
Yes.
Footprints.
Something else that I could have seen.
Well, and we'll have to make a trip back because I would love to see the stuff you saw in Valencia and the stuff you didn't get to see.
Maybe I'll go to Skellig this time.
There you go.
Nod.
An eco tour?
No, maybe.
Okay. And until next time, have a look at one of these videos. And where are they?
Probably up there.
Yep.
And over there.
They are. And until next time, safe travels.
Safe travels. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.